We have no fruit. They still fly. And yet, Darkseid is.
Today on DC On Screen, we have possibly exciting composition news. Is it composition? If you're a composer?
I think so. Yeah.
All right.
Let's go with it.
For the Batman. And other exciting news that I'm just really over the moon about. We've got some news about The Trench. We've got, oddly enough, some word about whether or not Tom Welling would be willing to play Batman on Arrow. All that, a little bit more, right after this.
Experiences are what people love the most about travel. That's why they love Viator. They have over 300,000 bookable experiences and something for everyone. Plus, their travel experiences have millions of real traveler reviews, so you have the information you need to book the best activities for your trip. Download the Viator app now and use code Viator10 for 10% off your first booking in the app. One app, over 300,000 travel experiences you'll remember. Do more with Viator.
You think of Earth as a singular planet. In fact, it is anything but. For this is a story not of a universe, but a multiverse, where universes and planets, such as Earth, were replicated and mirrored across a vibrating, infinite plane. Some barely different from the next. Others drastically so.
This is DC On Screen. Every week, Dave and Jason talk about the multiverse of DC properties on film and television. But be warned, if it's been officially released, you can expect they'll spoil it.
Welcome into DC On Screen. I'm your host, David C. Robertson. That's my trusty companion, Jason Goss.
Hello.
What's up, man?
Hey.
That's not an answer.
Nothing much.
Hey is not an answer to what's up. I'm sorry.
Nor is nothing much an answer to that's not an answer.
That's true. But it's acceptable somehow.
Shooting 2 for 2 on non sequiturs.
All right. So first off, thank you to all of our supporters on Patreon.
Thank you.
DC On Screen. Once you go over to Patreon, patreon.com/DC On Screen. If you want to go find that, $5 a month gets you the secret RSS feed. I feel really off today.
Yeah, you'll find a track. Probably. I don't know. Maybe.
Oh, man. This is bad.
In the meantime, so our Patreon.
Right.
$5 will get you all of the exclusive content. The Marvel reviews, the Jason's pull list. The whole thing. By the way, I'm about to do Batman Damned this afternoon. We're going to see if Batman is damned. Or to what extent he's damned. It'll be fun.
I always thought he was.
Yeah, it's a damned thing. At the very least, the book itself is damned. We know that just because news.
Right.
Always appreciate it. There's a $1 a month option if you just want to help out. And we appreciate that too.
Dude, we love the support. We appreciate all the support we've already gotten. And if you'd like to hear us chase some squirrels or whatever the hell we're gonna put up, go do that. I don't know. I'm not good on the saying, hey, go do the things. Calls to action, man. I can't do them. Terrible. And when I do them well, I feel like I sound like a used car salesman. It's
hard to say. It goes between apathetic and lunacy. I don't know how to describe it, but
it's either me fumbling over everything like I'm doing right now, or it's like going over to patreon.com/DC On Screen to get the Chasing Squirrels, Jason's pull list, all the Marvel.
Right.
I'm like, oh my God, what are you doing?
I don't know. I don't know how to describe that either. I don't know how to predict your moods. It's just it's a whim.
All right, so I want to go ahead and talk about the news. We're talking about the Batman here.
That'll get you on track.
Maybe, perhaps.
We shall see.
I doubt it. Over on Instagram, Michael Giacchino posted a picture of a Batman statue in Dublin, Ireland. It's like a Batman statue on a building ledge. And many are taking this as a sign that he's scoring the new Robert Pattinson, Matt Reeves Batman movie. I could not be more excited about that possibility.
Okay. Who the hell is that guy?
I'm glad you asked. I love Michael Giacchino. I think the obvious first mention is he did the Dawn of and War for the Planet of the Apes with Matt Reeves. And he also did Let Me In, which Matt Reeves directed. I know you haven't seen those movies.
I'm waiting for you to mention something I've seen.
But here's just a few more, in case you, dear listener, don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Michael Giacchino also composed The Incredibles, Spider-Man Far From Home, Spider-Man Homecoming, Jurassic World and its sequel, Fallen Kingdom, Rogue One, a Star Wars story, Doctor Strange, Star Trek Into Darkness, Zootopia, Pixar's Inside Out, Coco, Ratatouille, Up, Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, and if you want television, Fringe, Lost, Alias. He did the movie 50-50. What's that? TV and film not enough? How about 3 Call of Duty games, 3 Medal of Honor games? You and I are very well versed in Michael Giacchino, sir.
All right, so I should definitely know this bloke.
You should definitely know him. He is actually even directing an animated short Star Trek thing that they're coming out with next year. Mm-hmm. So he's dipping his toe in there as well. But that dude is prolific.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's
and
a lot
fantastic.
Of stuff that I've actually really liked too. So I'm glad I know his name now.
Mm-hmm. He's pretty great.
Yeah, that's some good stuff you just mentioned.
And I would be really super happy if he was doing Batman. I would love to hear his take on Batman. Yeah. Like that's the kind of name
and
that
having
just
done like the Apes movies with Matt Reeves, it's a good bet.
Mm-hmm. And let me in.
Yeah.
Not to mention, there's apparently a pretty big deal going down with J.J. Abrams, and we'll talk about that a little bit in a minute. But yeah, super excited about Michael Giacchino. Really excited about this as well. Josh Gad came out on Twitter and says, okay, seeing as I keep getting the question, as much as I have loved torturing you all with teasing you about the penguin, I feel like it's time to tell you I'm not actually playing the character.
Ah, that is good news.
But I've thoroughly enjoyed the fan art and the love. Here's the thing. I think he was. When you go back, you had Jeff Johns following him. You had Jeff Johns following him. You had him with a picture at DC offices with Jeff Johns. Look, I think it was going to happen. But that was back when, we had Ben Affleck directing the Batman movie. Writing and directing with Jeff Johns. Before Matt Reeves. And, Matt Reeves is the kind of guy that comes in and says, no, we're going to do it my way. Or I'm going to go. And then Warner Brothers said, we like your way. Yeah. Okay.
It took him 2 years, but a lot of news is finally forthcoming, and they're going to do it his way, apparently. He is holding him to the fire.
Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you this, if you listen to this show, I was not a fan of the idea of Josh Gad playing the Penguin. I would have accepted it and watched it and given it a chance, by God, because that's what we do here.
But it was not something we were excited about.
Hopefully this next little rumor, and I normally wouldn't mention it because it's just a stupid rumor, but man, it would be amazing if this is somehow linked. Andy Serkis is being rumored for a role in the Batman, and my Lord, if he was the Penguin, well, that just makes me all manner of happy.
All right. Educate me again. It was Andy Serkis.
Oh.
Andy Serkis.
He was Gollum in Lord of the Rings.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah. And he was Ulysses Claw in Black Panther.
Yeah, that could work.
Mm-hmm.
That could work for sure.
Mm-hmm. He's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So, I would very much enjoy if Andy Serkis was the Penguin. Mm-hmm.
I feel like the Penguin has to be short.
Reasonably, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, not...
He doesn't have to be DeVito height, but...
No, yeah. Just 5'8", so actually that's about perfect.
Right. You can play with cameras.
you can do anything with the cameras, but...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if you were wondering whatever happened to the Aquaman Trench spinoff, James Wan.
James Wan.
It would work with James Gunn too, wouldn't it? James Wan.
The other James says, directing this universe right now.
Mm-hmm. He says, we're still deep in sort of crafting the story right now. So I don't want to get into that too much, but it's but definitely it's one that I really want to lean into the horror of it. So it's going to play more as a monster horror movie than it will as a superhero film. But it's still definitely part of the Aquaman world. And Cinema Blend is also reporting that James Wan says his next movie will not be Aquaman 2 just yet. I have something else I'm cooking up. I'm not ready to share just yet. So everyone cool your jets. Aquaman will happen eventually. Or it will stay in development hell as James Wan and Jason Momoa remain increasingly more... engulfed in the movie business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we'll never see it, but
it took them fully 3 years to get the first film out.
It did. And I think after all of that extensive work, you don't want to jump right back into Aquaman.
No.
You want to, stretch your legs a bit, do something else. I think that's the way.
Hilarious that we're talking about an Aquaverse. That alone is just absurd.
It's a special kind of feeling.
Yeah. Hey, if you told us an historian 200 years from now who is studying pop culture what happened at this stage, we're like, well, we're going to release a Batman and Superman centric movie, and then 3 years later, we won't even know what's happening with those characters. We're going to do an Aquaman universe. They would not fucking believe you.
I think historians would.
Maybe in the context, but no. No, not the whimsical nature of the whole thing. No.
I think they would be more saddened by the fact that was all we had to report.
What happened to Batman and Superman? I don't know. Anyway, we're going to do a second Aquaman movie. Oh, featuring Aquaman. No, featuring some offshoots. It's more of a spinoff. So what about Superman or Aquaman? No Superman.
What about world politics?
What about Batman?
We don't want to talk about that.
Oh, no. This is much more fun to argue about.
All right, so there is a Variety article out, and it's a Power of Pride list, and they're highlighting the LGBTQ plus community, and celebrities and whatnot. Now they brought up Ezra Miller, and they said here in this blurb that he plays the ultra swift superhero The Flash, and he will get his DC Universe standalone film as soon as he wraps up his work on the Harry Potter spinoff series Fantastic Beasts. That is not an official report. That is old ass news, and we don't have anything to say it's not happening, except for all the stuff that's saying it's probably not going to happen. But it's not an official. Yes, this is happening either.
No. Do not take it that way.
Yeah,
that was somebody from a different department writing the one article and not having enough time to delve into the other. The Flash is far more complicated than that.
Yeah, it's in the weeds right now.
Oh yeah, I mean there was a point several months back where it was like, well, we're gonna give it a couple weeks for Ezra and I forget who.
Grant Morrison.
To come up with a script, and
you would forget Grant Morrison.
Yeah, it was Grant Morrison. Jesus. To come up with a script.
No, not Jesus. Grant Morrison. I know it's confusing for you sometimes.
Damn it.
No, it's not. I keep telling you.
Depends on what you're talking about.
Don't anger our Lord Alan Moore.
Damning if it didn't work out. This is a muddy subject.
It is.
Yeah.
So, anywho, we'll see what happens with that, but don't take that as the gospel there.
Do not.
Speaking of things you might not want to be able to take for gospel, but Geeks Worldwide is reporting that the Suicide Squad is going to be filming September 23rd through January 31st in Atlanta, Georgia. And I feel like they're usually on top of things, though. Geeks Worldwide. I might be wrong. Source. I've heard them a few times. It's not we got this covered, so I'm like, okay. But it is. Now, this is, I guess, potentially pretty exciting news. I'm not big on the business end of things, so what do you want? But Ann Sarnoff, she's the president of BBC Studios Americas. She's been named the new chair and CEO of Warner Brothers, and she kind of has a huge digital background, which was a really big deal. It was a big thing that WarnerMedia really wanted on the list of qualifications for the CEO taking over from, Osuge.
Son of a bitch.
Bastard.
For so many reasons.
I was about to say that was for reasons before we've even found out that he was...
Before we knew he was also a fucker.
Weinstein piece of shit.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's see here. As president of BBC Studios, Sarnoff oversaw the company's business division in the U.S., Canada, and Latin America. She shepherded LA productions, linear and digital program sales and co-productions, home entertainment, and licensing. She also led efforts to grow BBC Studios' global brands Doctor Who, Top Gear, and the natural history brand BBC Earth. I've heard of all of those things extensively, so good job, Ann Sarnoff. And she was also a board chair of BritBox, where she guided the development and growth of the direct-to-consumer service, which offers U.S. and Canadian customers the largest collection of British television programming. That is going to be huge in this upcoming role with the Warner streaming service. DC Universe, who knows what's going to happen with that? It might get just rolled in. I wouldn't be surprised if it was just, it wound up just being a service with old DC content, and HBO or the Warner streaming service was producing the new stuff like Titans.
Yeah.
Who knows? We don't know. Nobody knows.
At least one format where, for instance, to get to the WTF podcast at some point, I subscribe to Howl FM for $4.99 or $5.99 a month or whatever it was. That rolled over. Stitcher bought it. That rolled over into a Stitcher Premium contract that I still have, and it still debits my account as Howl, but I have Stitcher Premium.
That sounds right.
Could be one of those. Could be, fuck the whole thing. We're deleting everything and selling the shows to somebody else, and you're going to have to sign up for this new service, and thank you for your time. I don't know. Anywhere in between.
I don't think they'll completely do that. I think all the time they've spent putting shows up and all the money they've spent putting comics up, I think it'll still exist there at the very least.
It'll at minimum, I think it has a banner and the comics stay. Minimum. Because I think DC's been wanting to match the comics up.
Marvel Unlimited.
Yeah, Marvel Unlimited for a while. At minimum, I think that's there. The original content, that may be a numbers game.
Yeah.
I don't know how much they're making on that. I mean, it's a no ad service that they've got a subscription for. I mean, if it was a Patreon that I was paying, I think I pay $7.99 a month. If it was a Patreon page that was producing this content for $7.99 a month, I don't know how many people they'd have to make that work. But a lot.
You know, I would probably, for all the DC comics, I would probably pay the same amount and nothing else, or just the streaming content of old shows.
Being able to just have the streaming content for the old content, like just being able to get to like BTAS when I want to, that's totally worth it for me. If all I had was access to older stuff and all the comics, I would pay it.
Absolutely. And I think it makes a lot more sense to put those shows on a more wide-reaching service.
Yeah. Like you said,
if you're going to spend the money on it.
You already have people on HBO and you can get something on HBO. And like, you know, as you mentioned, like Teen Titans and Doom Patrol, or Titans and Doom Patrol, not so much Swamp Thing. We have some problems. But Titans and Doom Patrol would do fantastically on HBO, I think. Like, it would be millions of people that you don't already have that you could get. It could be that they're going to enroll all of the content we're seeing in what they're doing now, and they have plans for it. Or it could be they're trying to shop it out because, I mean, if you ask me, I think it's an undersold item. There's Titans and Doom Patrol's season 1 are some of the best fucking content I've ever seen out of DC. And I wish more people knew about it.
Agreed. Or even had access to it.
Even had access. Yeah. I mean, it's on Netflix at some point, but still.
At some point, yeah. All right. So there's a lot of hubbub now about J.J. Abrams possibly overseeing the DC universe at WarnerMedia. There's nothing to really indicate that that's what's going to happen. He has entered into final negotiations with WarnerMedia for a $500 million pact. I don't believe that he would stop making projects for other companies. That just wouldn't make sense. I mean, they're still doing the Mission Impossible stuff over at Paramount.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of stuff going on.
In the reporting, they'd probably throw the word exclusive in there somewhere, if that was the case.
Yeah, I don't think that they would sign on for an exclusive thing, and I don't think WarnerMedia would be stupid enough to try to force them to do that. In fact, I believe they got rid of Sujihara because his J.J. Abrams' wife and co-CEO Katie McGrath said, no, we're not doing that. And it actually became a moral issue for them, a values issue for them. They wouldn't even consider doing anything with Warner as far as signing more contracts unless Sujihara was gone, which I applaud both of them for that.
Oh, yeah. I like that.
But
even still, like, Abrams is not, without that, and that was laudable. Without that, Abrams is not the kind of guy that would take an exclusive any fucking thing. That dude has always been spread out.
He's always.
And I think he likes it that way.
Absolutely. Now, you know, and let's not fool ourselves. I don't think he's going to give up his cushy little position over on the Disney lot making Star Wars movies. And if he doesn't make any more Star Wars movies, that's fine. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he just wraps it up with The Rise of Skywalker. But
it's theoretically supposed to, but
maybe not his involvement. Who knows?
Yeah.
Now, I don't have quite the problem with J.J. Abrams that others have. Our friend Matt over at MCU Cast, and I co-host with him over on Star Trek Universe podcast. He calls J.J. Abrams the destroyer of worlds.
I think he feels the same way about him as we do Goyer.
No, see, I'm not sure that's true either, but Abrams, I think Matt feels about Goyer the way we feel about Goyer.
Probably, yeah.
I feel like Abrams, the biggest problem I have with him is he's obsessed with this concept of the mystery box, the laying out a big mystery, and he's very he's gone on record as saying, I don't really know what the mystery is. When I lay it out there, I just lay it out there.
Yeah, and see, for me, that's a shitty way of telling a story.
It is.
I get that completely.
And he does that over and over again, and just kind of lets other writers, and I understand if you're starting a bunch of stuff, that's really great. But,
you have to wrap it up.
The problem with that is, he is so busy that he just starts the thing and then moves on, and other people have to pick it up. And a lot of times people just decide not to pick it up.
See, I'm not sure if that's how it factually happens, but it makes sense. And I know that factually that's how busy he is, and I get it. But he also, as a producer of things, has little follow through to me looking at it. Lost alone ended in nothing.
That's not true.
It ended in complete mystery, and
no, it didn't.
Yeah, you can say it has a definitive ending, but no, it doesn't have a satisfying definitive ending.
I think it does. You haven't even watched it.
Yeah, I've seen enough.
If you have that opinion, you haven't, and you're smart enough to understand. That's the thing. Go over to the Lostpedia and look at unsolved mysteries. There are like 3. And there are hundreds of others. Carlton Cuse and Damon Lindelof, I think, did a pretty good damn job of cleaning up most of those mysteries. There are a couple of mysteries, and I understand if you had the answers to those, it might not be worth knowing, or it might be such a total letdown. That's the other thing with Abrams is they're just like with Rian Johnson did with The Last Jedi. Just he had a bad guy say oh, you're not anything, your parents were nobodies, or whatever it was, which is fine, but not necessarily the most reliable of narrations. But everyone got upset, oh, he's destroying the mythology. I think Abrams, to some degree, puts people in a no-win scenario where there's no way to fulfill these mysteries. That said, he makes a hell of a movie. So
I'll happily own my ignorance of Lost. When I've read the summaries of the storyline, I thought he left it on the table. But
he literally came in and directed the pilot and moved on.
Yeah, I know, which is always frustrating. But
that's where that's the genius though, because
then you go to the Star Trek movies where I actually enjoyed him for the most part.
I have my issues, but yeah, I've enjoyed him.
The thing I have the most issue with, of all things, was they straight up lied to us in the media before. Then it was oh, he's not Khan, and then you watch the movie, it's Khan.
I don't like that. Yeah,
there's a huge difference between what they did in the Infinity War and Endgame trailers, where they literally redid some of the images to trick you. That's not a lie. That's a mislead. That's a mislead that I appreciate when I see it later. What he did was, it may not even be him. It may be the trailer house at the studio. I'm not sure you can blame him. But on those, I didn't appreciate that straight up lie. But
it was definitely him. Abrams came out and said it's not Khan.
Oh, was it him? Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't appreciate that. But and I actually enjoyed that series of movies. But that's part of what I'm talking about. There's not a lot of follow through with him. It doesn't seem like he gets to complete things very often
because he's so busy.
Yeah. He just he's just like a pinball bouncing around.
But then he's directed the last 2 or 3. No, I think he hasn't directed, but he's produced. He directed Mission Impossible 3 and handed off to somebody else, and then it became Christopher McQuarrie who did the last 2. I think that's how that worked. But
I'll go with it.
I don't know. It's a mixed bag, and whenever you hand off a franchise, who knows, man? Like Gene Roddenberry stopped basically having anything creative to do with Star Trek after Star Trek 1, and the franchise got really good.
Oh yeah, no, this can be for better or worse.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know, but I guess we'll see. I think Abrams is divisive, and I think that Warner Brothers possibly, I hope they understand this. I think Warner Brothers is finally getting around to the concept that there are no safe choices anymore. No. In the geek community, everyone is now divisive.
Yeah.
In the last 2 years, we've seen fans, the fan community turn against Marvel in a way that quite frankly, warned you was going to happen. I mean, look at some of the backlash for Captain Marvel.
It was an inevitability, but
yeah. So I don't think there's any. I truly don't believe that there is any solid safe choice. But Emmerich did say, like we reported, great directors are the lifeblood of a studio, and they need great producers. I know a lot of people took that as a dig at Zack Snyder. I don't think it really was. Maybe it was, but I don't think it was. I don't think it was meant as such.
No, I actually partly took it as, in a way, kind of an apology to Zack Snyder.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think there are definitely people within the Warner Brothers hubbub, the line, whatever, corporate Warner Brothers, that genuinely wish they had just stuck with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think Hamada and Emmerich are on the team of if we had just done this a certain way, I think it could have worked.
Maybe.
Could just be me hoping. But yeah, for sure. Okay. I think there are people that think, we should just stuck with the plan, done what we were planning on doing. It would have all worked out. We would have still had Aquaman and, Wonder Woman 84 probably hitting $1 billion mark and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I guess we'll see though. Like there's nothing to say that that if J.J. Abrams did sign that contract with WarnerMedia, no indication that he would be stepping in to do anything with the DC universe.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's... We went off on J.J. Abrams, but still...
Yeah.
It may have nothing to do with anything we talk about.
Yeah.
Forgot about that part.
I mean, there was that Superman script that he wrote that everyone hated back in, what was it, 2003 or 4 or something?
Is that like Uprising or something?
I'm not sure if that was Flyby or if that was...
I think it was Flyby. That sounds right.
I'm not sure, but the fan community did not handle that script well.
It had some laughable concepts in it.
It did. All right, you want to talk about some TV?
Hit it.
All right, so by the way, before I'm going to talk about The Flash here, but I saw a headline yesterday that and it seemed very serious. Grant Gustin is shaving his beard for Flash season 6, and I think that's a bold choice to shave the beard of a character who has traditionally had a beard.
So much beard.
Oh,
I mean, it's really been very surprising that they've been able to shove all that beard into the uniform for all these years.
Mm-hmm.
The costume team should really be applauded.
I mean,
for their work on that.
Honestly, I always thought he was clean shaven, but apparently they decided that it was important enough to write an article about it. So apparently this whole time
he's had the beard the entire time, and they've been editing it out.
That's probably what made them think that they could edit the mustache out.
That's why they
League.
thought. Yeah, exactly. It was a good idea at the time, but they didn't get the right guy. I forget who it was that works on that team, who the guy that edits out the beard, but he wasn't free that weekend, and they had to get somebody else, and that's why we got.
Oh, it was Mustache McNomore. That was his name.
Right. His work visa for the U.S. was declined, so he could only work in Vancouver, and that's why it looks fantastic on Grant Gustin, and Henry Cavill looks like a goddamn nightmare.
Anyway, TV Line is reporting that they're going to introduce a new scientist character. They are currently in the process of casting a new math and science expert for the sixth season. I can't say sixth.
It's hard.
Description does
also
say
feels
that
like every fucking season. Not even complaining. I like math and science characters, but
right.
It's like every season. This is what we do. It's nerds with the superpowers. That's the Flash.
Well, they say that they're casting a character that will be a socially awkward African-American genius in math and science who is specifically a bit obsessed with aliens and their tech. Now, that bit about being obsessed with aliens and their tech is the only somewhat interesting / original thing about this, because awkward African-American genius in math and science, that just sounds like
we already have that.
Piping in Curtis.
Yeah, we're just
from
going to recast him over here. Yeah,
but Echo
he
Kellum
would make a fantastic addition to the Flash team, by the way.
Yeah, and you know what? I think that based on this, I say that was their plan, and then Echo Kellum said, "I don't want to do it."
Maybe with the addition of alien science, it could be part of the lead up to Crisis. I mean, we literally have to get not only out of this world, but out of several worlds. We're going multiverse, and they've got to build up to that. So they do have to introduce somebody, and The Flash is the perfect show to introduce the science of it, to get into the multiverse.
Let me ask you this. I've been rereading Crisis on Infinite Earths, and based on how integral Lila Michaels, a.k.a. Harbinger, is at the beginning of that book, do you think that the last 10 episodes of Arrow are going to turn her into something? Turn Lila into Harbinger proper, or close to proper?
Fantastic. That would be fantastic. Now, like Harbinger, the one you're reading is the one who is there to witness all of the world's ending, right?
Well, she is sent by the Monitor to go gather certain heroes. There is a cat named Pariah who is forced to watch everything.
My bad. Yeah, he is the one who's forced to watch everything in. You're right. Harbinger is the one that gathers. That actually would be cool. Just as a name check, that would be cool. And she could do it.
Absolutely.
I mean, within the Arrowverse, she is top 3 badass.
Yeah.
It would not be surprising at all if she was one of the ones that rounded up the team.
I just don't know how you have Lila Michaels floating around and you're doing Crisis on Infinite Earths and you don't do Harbinger.
Don't use the word Lila. Yeah.
Or the word Harbinger, but they've used the word Lila plenty.
That'll get us there.
All right.
Actually, though, that I misremembered, but now I'm kind of wondering, like, is there going to be a Pariah character?
I'm not sure, but they could easily just introduce him at the beginning of Crisis.
They could. It could also actually be Arrow to serve that role.
That would be interesting.
I mean, he's been kind of the the dour, depressed, like, how do I put it? He's been the character through which we've seen the depression and depravity of the Arrowverse so far. Wouldn't be a hard step for him, having already met the Monitor in an ethereal plane, to be the guy who sees universes die and has to sit there and watch it. Wouldn't be a long step.
I could see it.
He definitely knows how to hit that beat.
Just like he hits his meat.
Sure.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
I don't know how to help you from that. I don't know. I don't know what to do with it.
In a recent interview.
There you
go. just move right past it. Over on score. What? That's
the sound was moving forward for no good reason.
The sound of a pigeon.
It's the best I could do.
What is a pigeon? Anyway.
Pigeons carry.
Yeah, carrier pigeon. Just carrying us to the next topic. Score of the podcast had an interview with Pinar Toprak, who scored Captain Marvel. And it turns out she's going to be scoring Stargirl for DC Universe.
Oh, yeah, that's good. I like the Marvel music.
She's also worked on Sci-Fi's Krypton.
Oh, they actually have really good music.
They do have good music. Yeah, I wish they had a show to match.
Nah, it's not fair yet.
It's
not fair yet. It is moving a bit slow this season.
It's not fair yet, but with the exception of Lobo, who admittedly took me a while to get used to. I'm not my Lobo guy, but I mean, he quite literally is not my Lobo. So I've had to get used to him.
All right.
He's a little different. Not opposed to him, just he's a little different. I think I've officially fallen in love with the guy.
Yeah. He says bastages in the first episode. I was pretty happy about that.
He does, but he says it weird. He says it weirdly.
Yeah. I mean, they give him what I'll call a unique accent.
Anyway, down for this score, down for that. There was a recent episode, I listened to this podcast, so I heard this and kind of chuckled. Tom Welling on Michael Rosenbaum's podcast, Inside of You. It was actually a really great episode. This is his second appearance, but this time he was interviewing Michael Rosenbaum.
Trying.
They
ended up kind of talking at each other for a bit.
Which those guys have a great chemistry. Off.
How do I call it?
Those guys have fantastic chemistry.
They do have great chemistry.
You can tell that they're actually, something like friends. I'm not going to say actual friends because I don't think they hung out a whole lot in between Smallville and...
I think they sound like friends.
Yeah.
But
maybe. They do.
In particular, I would love to hear them... I would love to hear them behind the scenes at a convention.
Mm-hmm.
They would probably be pretty delightful.
If you have not heard Michael Rosenbaum's podcast, Inside of You, I will tell you, the first Tom Welling, and then this past couple weeks, he's done what he called Smallville Week, where he talked to John Glover, he talked to Goffin Miller, Kristen Crook, and did I say John Glover? Because that was a big one.
Yeah, that
was fantastic. So yeah, and just if you're a Smallville fan, good Lord, there's a lot there to love and listen to.
Oh yeah, a lot of cute moments about Kristen feeding Tom Welling the lines. That was that was maybe my favorite story. Is he was auditioning for the role. She was already cast. He paused because he just forgot what he was doing. She mouthed the lines that he was supposed to say, and he said them convincingly. And then later, after he was cast, they were like, "The way you paused," he was like, "I just forgot. Just forgot what I was supposed to be saying."
Yeah,
she couldn't help me out on that.
Yep,
it was a great story.
Absolutely. But yeah, Welling does say that he would like to do Batman.
Oh, for sure. He'd make a great Batman.
He says, I think there's some room to grow there, and it would be different. So if you saw his turn on Lucifer, I think you would probably agree that he would be a pretty good Batman.
Yeah. He made a great Bruce Wayne, at least there. And I enjoyed his turn on Lucifer, and enjoyed hearing that he enjoyed his turn on Lucifer. It was a fun cast, and I kind of expected that out of Lucifer, that the cast themselves have fun.
Mm-hmm.
The show itself has let us down many times for not moving on fast enough, but it's always got some pretty good lighthearted moments. The worst episode of Lucifer has made me laugh once.
Yeah,
it does have some humor in it, and it was good to hear that the cast is enjoying themselves.
Indeed. And by the way, Lucifer tops Netflix's binge watching for the 7th week in a row.
Wow.
But don't get excited, Lucifer fans. The Lucifer showrunners came out and said, hey, another Save Lucifer campaign, that's not going to do anything. This is it. This is all. We're done. Final season, 5th season. That's it. And they're happy to actually be able to do an ending. So they've learned their lesson.
Yeah.
They're taking what they were given.
I wanted some seasoned producer to pull them aside and say, hey, sit down. Let me explain some things. And, in all fairness, though, it seems so naive. Well, we're going to leave it on a cliffhanger. But it worked. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know if it worked for that reason. I doubt it did. But in all fairness to them, it's like when my dog barks at me because he wants a treat, and I tell him no for 10 minutes, and he keeps barking at me, and then he settles down, and I give him a treat. Theoretically, he just barked at me, and I gave him a treat. I don't see much difference between them saying what we're going to do is we're going to starve you of an ending, and then they'll let us continue the show.
Yeah,
it feels very similar.
It does, but I don't think that's why. I mean, it contributed. It was a contributing factor, but I don't think that was... I think they would have had a huge campaign anyway.
Maybe. I mean, I have talked to several people, and demographics that surprised me even, of people that were really a huge fan of the show. It's been a weird thing to keep track of, because for me and you, it's been a bit of an abomination. They just didn't move the story fast enough. The celestial stuff didn't get enough attention. But I mean, honestly, if what they had done was what they'd done in this 4th season the entire time, I would be a huge fan of the show.
I think I would agree. Yeah.
This was a huge upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
And if you condensed the first 3 seasons down to about 20 episodes, I'd probably be also a pretty fucking big fan of the show.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot too much time kind of waiting in the water. It needed to move on faster than it did. That was it. It was the procedural nature of it and the network TV nature of it was not something me and you were fans of. So that's just in our DNA, and that's how it was going to be. And That's how it came out.
And it's not even necessarily that I'm not a fan of it. It's just that I saw too much of it as a child. I grew up watching too many procedurals.
It was rote.
And I'm done.
Yeah, it was parts of it were rote. And even when it was rote, and we'd seen this episode of Law and Order before, but with Tom Ellis now. Drop my pen. Sorry. It was still a bit charming. I mean, Tom Ellis is charming. The cast was generally charming. It still there was a lot to like about it still, but it was just, we didn't want it to be the show that it was. The 4th season on Netflix, if they do that again, I'll be really happy to watch it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I do say that I'm done with the procedural, despite the fact that I really like Elementary. There are times when and they have enough going on, sort of. I mean, in an overarching sense, that
I get it.
Can
like, as a guy who's watched every episode of Monk twice, I get it. Like USA nailed it back in the day, back in the aughts, when they called it Characters Welcome. That was their big campaign series. Like when it was what's his name doing the Christopher Walken the Dead Zone character. Mm-hmm. When it was that and Burn Notice, Burn Notice, another show that was pretty procedural with a good serial story that had a big payoff.
Right.
Monk, again, compelling. Another show that was like a procedural story, had some serial moments, good payoff. I was on board, man. I watched every fucking episode of both of those.
I've enjoyed everything I've seen of Burn Notice. Should I actually go through and watch that show?
Yes, you actually should. It's strangely, I say that now, but not.
I love Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell brings another level to why that show is a good show. This feels so biased now, but I really enjoy. Also, I really enjoy Jeffrey Donovan. Like, I forget what he was in before. It was like it was some show where he had brain damage. He was a detective who had been shot in the head, and he had brain damage, and he could like sense things. It was one of those. It was again like USA going through their Characters Welcome era, and they really, man, they were on top of shit for a while. And something that won me over was like the pilot of that. It was like Evil. God damn, it's so close. I can't remember what it is. So close. But whatever he did before, it was even 9 Inch Nails song in the pilot, like a song of Fragile, I think. But it was a really good show. I've always loved Jeffrey Donovan. I even love. He's on Shut Eye now. Basically a show where he's a con man. It's on Hulu. It's a show where he's a con man that is not actually a gypsy. It's literally a con man trying to con gypsies, which obviously doesn't end well. And it's a good show. I enjoy it. He's a great actor. So when I saw him there, I was happy to see him. And then I watched the pilot, and there was fucking Sam Axe there, and I was super happy about it. And I watched every damn episode. And it was one of those shows where I was. It always cracked me up. Like, you would see somebody on. You'd see somebody on Burn Notice. And then, like, the next week you'd see him on Dexter. Like, season 1 and 2 of Dexter are, like, littered with people that were on Burn Notice. It was hilarious.
That's good. That's fun. Yeah, I've Burn Notice was one of those when we lived together, you would just have them playing, and I would find myself, and it's as much the same way living with Bethany, having, she'll play. She likes to go to sleep with Hulu on, so it'll just move over to Elementary.
Yeah.
And I will sit there and realize with a steady stream of drool coming out of my mouth that I have been watching for hours.
3 hours later, you're like, I've seen 4 episodes of this show, and I'm still pretty happy to watch the next one.
Yeah, and they're pretty good. They have the little Buffy thing going pretty well, not quite to that extent, but where like they just have a little through line through the season where it's like, oh, here's another thing about the season's big bad, and you're like, oh, they're gonna end it on that? No. Well, I have to find out how his dad is involved in this shenanery. Right. And they just have great chemistry on that show. And I felt the same way about Burn Notice when you would play it. I really liked the format. I liked Jeffrey Donovan's voiceover work. Really reminded me of Sci-Fi Channel's Invisible Man. How he would like
Yeah.
All right, the key to being a thief, like
yeah. I get it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or Oscar Wilde said, blah blah blah. Yeah.
It was surprisingly good, and it was well framed, and I really didn't. I enjoyed it way more than I thought I ever would. Like, I watched the pilot, enjoyed it, and then ended up every week looking forward to it. I would say, like, same with Monk. It's Tony Shalhoub, man.
Mm-hmm.
This one's hard to even apologize for. It's not. I don't have to justify this.
It seemed enjoyable,
Tony
but
Shalhoub, and he killed it. And it is a procedural thing, and he did just solve a mystery every week. And yeah, there's this Sherlock-esque quality to how he solved everything. But the entire time, it's Tony Shalhoub playing this character. And like, if you've seen Miss Maisel, the fabulous Miss Maisel, I forget the name.
I have not. No.
If you've seen anything he fucking did, you know how good he is.
Oh yeah, aside from Men in Black, the thing that I know Tony Shalhoub from is I think
even then the first thing you should have probably seen him in was the DNA movie. What's the name? Shit, man, my memory is really blanking on me today.
I don't know about the DNA movie
with the stolen ladder, Jude Law, Ethan Hawke,
Gattaca.
Maybe?
I don't know.
Oh, fuck.
I don't know.
Right, I'm going to look this one up. Hold on.
This is sounding less and less like a thing I've seen. Honestly.
Hold on.
Oh, no, I think I know what you're talking about. Are these the organ people? The people who sell organs but then like they come to repossess them? Repo men?
No, that's a whole different thing.
Okay.
That one's a Men in Black 3, he's still there. Monk, there's that. American East, Monk webisodes. Yeah, there were those two. Oh, Cars. Yeah, he was in Cars. Why not? He gets the ropes. Party Animal. God, he's been in so many things.
Yeah, the thing that I came to know him from.
Oh, 13 Ghosts. I remember that. That was really good.
I have not seen that.
Stark Raving Mad.
Stark Raving Mad. That is the thing that I came to know him on. Very short-lived series, short-lived sitcom with Neil Patrick Harris.
Mm-hmm.
And I was, of course, in love with the premise because he was a horror writer and would just do these ghastly, awful things in his apartment that would freak Neil Patrick Harris out. Neil Patrick Harris was a very straight-laced individual and would constantly put on Purell or whatever. And then he would like turn a corner and Tony Shalhoub is hanging, had hung himself or whatever. Yeah, loved that show. Really, really enjoyed that show, and I hated when it went away.
Okay, I think it was Gattaca.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. I think you nailed it on that one. It's part of my love of Tony Shalhoub might have, as I was scrolling down, he was in Gargoyles at some point, which I watched religiously. Dinosaurs.
Was he in Wings?
Too. Monsters even. Oh, no, he was a huge part of Wings.
Okay. I never watched Wings.
He was just the Italian guy in Wings.
For some reason, I know like a whole lot of people on there. Tim Daly, Steven Weber, Crystal Bernard. For some reason, I just know all of those people who were on Wings without having ever seen an episode of Wings.
Yeah, he, again, USA showing up. I think they were the progenitors of that series, and I watched every fucking episode I could get my hands on.
I thought that was NBC, but I might be wrong.
It could have been in replay. I don't know. When I was watching it in the late 90s, it was on USA. And me and my family sat down to watch Wings. That was a show we watched every time.
Yeah, I know that it was on a lot, and I only know that because there's an old Married with Children bit, and that was the only thing I knew about Wings for a really long time, where Al sits down and turns on the television, and it was like, up next, Wings, and he like grimaces and changes the channel, and it says, and now, Wings, and he's like, damn it, he changes the channel again. And then it's like someone speaking in Spanish, and then they say, Wings, and he's like, damn it, he can't get away from it.
That show went on for a while, and it was fantastic. And it was what brought me a love of several characters, like Steven Weber, Tim Daly, all of them, and Tony Shalhoub, all of them fantastic.
Oh yeah, I mean, I believe it.
I mean, Tim Daly, obviously, we would come to know as Superman, and one of the best voiceovers of Superman we've ever known.
Hashtag that's my Superman.
Yeah. Steven Weber even, and every time he shows up, and he was
Thomas Hayden Church too. He was in there, wasn't he?
Oh fuck, Thomas Hayden Church, goddamn Sideways Oscar winner. Yeah.
Oh, what's that girl's name who was in The Mask?
Oh, in The Mask.
She was in it.
Carmen something or other.
No.
Not her. Oh,
the pretty redhead.
I know what you're saying.
She was in Problem Child. Amy Yazbek. Is that her name? Is that her name? Amy Yazbek?
I don't know.
Let me see.
Typing so I can find out.
Yes, that was her.
Amy Yazbek? Okay.
Yes.
Trying to get a visual. Oh, yeah, her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, she was a huge part of Wings. Steven Weber was so good that when they redid The Shining, that's the guy they picked to replace Jack Nicholson. He's one of those people who's like hugely undervalued to me.
He's fantastic on Studio 60.
Oh, fantastic there. I still implore you to watch iZombie. A great 3 seasons with him. Oh yeah, like he is one of the people who's responsible for the zombie scourge.
Okay, I'm happy to hear someone actually say scourge instead of scourge.
I didn't know scourge was a thing.
I didn't either until this week. I literally heard, like, my wife said scourge.
No, there's a you in there.
I was like, I'm pretty sure it's scourge. And then Lobo described himself as the scourge. And I went,
well, he's got a weird accent. You can't trust him.
I was like, what's happening? Is my life upside down now? Like, have I fallen into a parallel? I've never heard anyone say scourge until this week.
Yeah, scourge. I stand by it. I think you were right, buddy.
Maybe. It may be one of those, route or route situations.
I mean, there's... No. I think it's scourge. I think it's outright scourge.
Which I use both route and route, by the way. If I'm referring to a number, it's Route 66, not Route 66. That sounds weird.
Oh, but see, that's route still, but called route.
But yeah,
if it's a numerical value of some kind, it's an actual route, ROOT.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Well, that was not interesting. Hey.
I just looked it up to be sure, but yeah, for sure. There's an OU in that. You can't say scourge.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, take that, Scanlon.
You just can't. You gotta respect the you. You know.
Yeah. I love you, Bethany. I know you're listening. I'm sorry,
but you're wrong.
All right. So did you watch this Teen Titans Go versus Teen Titans trailer that I sent you?
I did.
I am so happy. Because it looks like they're going to be a number of villains are going to be forcing the Titans and the Teen Titans and the Teen Titans Go to fight. But it looks like this is a big multiverse spanning thing at the very end when you see all of the Titans fighting with the bad guys. If you pause it, you can see Nightwing in his black and red outfit from the comics in the background. You can see like comic book Starfire. This is going to be a multiverse, a whole multiverse of these characters.
I mean, apparently they broke it wide open.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. The weird thing was, and Teen Titans is a show that I've never gotten around to watching, but I have respect for. I've heard good things.
Yeah, it's like $35 at Walmart right now for the complete series. I'm pretty sure it's on DC Universe.
Yeah, I'm sure. I just haven't made time for it.
Mm-hmm.
Titans Go even. The times I've seen it, I like it.
I've enjoyed the hell out of it, what I've seen of it.
Haven't made time for it. But when they combine these two, I swear to God, the first 40 comments, if you go to that trailer and look on the comments on YouTube, are all, you told us they were coming back and this is what we fucking get, you assholes. Rephrase that however you want. That's the first however many comments. I kept scrolling and that's all I saw.
I don't care. Those people can kick rocks. This looks fantastic.
I agree. Just apparently, and it was like 6,000 ups to, or no, 60,000 ups to like 6,000 no's as far as the voting. Apparently, large contingent of people that were not happy with this. If I do get that if you were told the Teen Titans are coming back, and I think I remember us talking about
the tail
Teen Titans were coming back.
But at the tail end of a Teen Titans Go movie.
Yeah. I mean, I get that if you were told they were coming back and this is what you get, maybe you're like, oh, well, we had a whole system of stories we're working on. I don't know. I don't know the stories well enough. I would love to see if this respects the universe that it came to. But, oh my God, so many people mad about the animation. Because Teen Titans did use like regular old school animation. Titans Go uses an entirely different style, and they're putting in Titans Go style. So, oh my God, so many people are mad about that.
Well, so many people were mad when Teen Titans came out in the first place, and it wasn't in the Batman the Animated Series universe. They were mad that it was stupid anime style. These people can't be helped.
There's no help with this. Okay, I get it. God, there was so much vitriol though on those comments. It was amazing. I'm ignorant, man. I don't have enough background to judge what I just saw. But what I just saw looked delightful.
Yeah, I mean, I have seen big portions of episodes, if not entire episodes of Teen Titans, but never the entire series. I want to go back and do that. Teen Titans Go, I've watched whole shorts, whatever they do, like segments. I've enjoyed the hell out of it from what I've seen. This looks great. This actually makes me want to go back and watch both.
I could see that. Yeah.
But, I'm that guy. One of the ways you and I bonded is shortly after we first met, you were telling me about Fringe. You asked me if I'd seen it, and I said, it's, low rent X-Files. And you looked at me and said, they're doing the multiverse.
Yeah.
And I went, oh.
Oh, do tell.
Oh, well. And I went home that night and watched the pilot. And several other episodes that were subsequent to that pilot.
Yeah. The show
in order, because that's how I roll.
Our friendship remained.
Yeah, the show, we were already living together by the time they got to the end of that show, and we were just like, what has this become?
That one went off the rails.
Yeah, season 4, it really just, what are you doing, guys?
Yeah.
Which it wasn't the same showrunners. I think they had a new set of showrunners every season.
Every couple weeks, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, everybody just kept getting huge and going away.
Mm-hmm.
Kurtzman and Orsi went off and do the Star Trek movies.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Only disappointing part is like the actors themselves. I would like to see them again. It wasn't their fault.
Well, John Noble hangs out.
John Noble,
you see him quite a bit.
Hangs around.
See him on Sherlock. You see
Kirk
him.
Avocito. Still see him around the Arrowverse, but fuck, that's it. Everybody else, I don't know when I've seen them.
Yeah, I haven't seen, what's his name? Joshua
Pacey.
Jackson.
I don't know. Pacey.
Yeah, Pacey. Honestly, I think, and there might be some rabid Pacey fans out there, but I will say that I think Fringe was his last gasp. Maybe I think he was living on borrowed time there.
See, I thought he did a great job.
He absolutely did a great job.
Here's the weird part. That guy, every single time I see him, I think he does a good job. I don't think anything that's ever happened was his fault.
Have you ever seen Lone Star State of Mind?
No.
It is fantastic. Thomas Hayden Church is in it. He's in it. John Cougar Mellencamp is in it for some reason, but
why not?
He's a lot of fun too.
John Mellencamp, damn it, took the Cougar out, I think.
I mean, they're in Texas.
Yeah.
And Joshua Jackson and his fiance, their stepbrother and sister, their parents are married, and John Mellencamp's just like this dirty, mean old man, who keeps saying, "Oh, you done having sex with your sister now?"
All right.
Dad, stop saying that. We're not actually related.
As you do.
Yeah. It's a pretty fun movie. It really is. I watched it under protest and wound up enjoying it quite a bit. Like I said, Thomas Hayden Church, man, he's great.
Yeah, he is good. I forget who she was the star of the show. I forget who she is. I forget her name. I only remember her her Elseworld name was Folivia.
Well, her name was Olivia on the show,
yeah,
but
so her Elseworld name was Folivia.
Yeah, they called her Folivia.
That's all I remember. I don't remember seeing her somewhere else. I need to IMDb her and see where she's shown up here.
Yeah,
she did a good job too. It was a weird show.
She wound up being my least favorite of that show. She always just sort of had like a look of she had like a slight tummy ache. Like she just always had that.
The entire
face.
time the show was like, guess what?
Yeah,
everything's absurd.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the look she was supposed to have the entire time.
Yeah.
Also, by the way, you can't trust anything.
I loved John Noble's character claiming that Folivia ensnared Peter with her insidious vagina.
Yeah.
That was just... that show was great until season 4.
Was pretty good. Yeah. I know. It went off the rails.
Anyway.
I think I won you over by saying Leonard Nimoy was involved.
I knew he was involved because Matt watched the show.
And
I roomed with Matt. So, I knew Leonard Nimoy was involved, but no, it was the multiverse. That's what it was. That was what it was. You said that you said that they're doing the multiverse, and there have been incursions. Is a slow invasion from the other universe. And I went, oh, that sounds good.
I gotta get into that.
Mm-hmm.
It was a different time. It was long before we had like the Flash.
Mm-hmm.
These concepts were alien to normal network TV at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Give it its credit. That show breached some concepts, like in the way that X-Files breached some concepts. It didn't end well, but that show fucking it broke some shit up. It said we could do things differently, and people still paid attention, and millions of people watched and said, "Yeah, sure, fucking what do you got? What are we doing?"
Yeah, and it's always fun to watch those shows. Lost did the same thing, where it was like the longer it went and the crazier it got, the less people watched it. They were just like, "Oh, I didn't know we were in for this." I'm like, "What did you want? What were you hoping for with a show about fringe science?"
Yeah,
like, oh well, this is just too much. Why? Stupid 2 universes. Stupid Hatch.
Yeah.
Like, no, those were fine things.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, I get how it happens, but no, I mean, when the show decides to just go full throttle in one direction, sometimes it sticks, sometimes it doesn't. I think Fringe was part of what proved that you could, for better or worse, it proved you could really play with some shit.
Yeah.
I mean, there were tons of other shows that did it before, but it had a wider audience. That's really it. You have to have the audience and then still get away with it. That's a huge part of the equation.
Mm-hmm.
7 million people a week watching that show.
All right. Now, do you have anything else?
Oh, I do not. No.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't either. So I'm going to call it if that's okay with you.
I second that motion.
All right. Well, listeners, loyal and otherwise, you treacherous listeners out there. You're welcome to come back as well.
Mm-hmm.
Your treachery does not harm me.
Nope.
But thank you so much for listening. And again, patreon.com/DC on screen if you want to go help us out, support us. If you want to support us another way, but you don't want to listen to us talk anymore, because I can't blame you. We do have a shop on our website, dconscreen.com, and then you click on shop, and you can go and buy shirts and other apparel that has our logo on it. And if you don't want to spend money on supporting us, you can always go over to, Apple Podcast now. I almost said iTunes because I'm old, but that's no longer a thing. And
it's still a thing.
Give us, no, iTunes is pretty much gone, man.
It's still a thing in the review world.
I mean, it's Apple Podcasts. It's just not iTunes.
No.
But yeah, if you think we deserve it, 5 stars would be great. If you didn't like how many times I stumbled over my words, you can give us 4 stars and still a positive review. I'll still read them, and I'll still remember the negative reviews way more.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how I'm built.
Right.
Anyway, we love you. Until next time, dark side is, and keep some DC on your screen.
Our opening narration was from Dan Jurgens' The History of the DC Universe, Part 3 of 10, as featured in DC 52, Week 4. It was performed by me, David C. Robertson. Intro music by Jason Goss and Michael Shackelford. Michael's band, Future Elevators, could be found on Spotify or future-elevators.com. Our introduction was performed by Effie Oppelders of the fantastic podcast Stealing the Remote, which lives on SoundCloud. It can also be found on iTunes and Stitcher. We are proudly in partnership with TV Time, the TV show calendar and social media site that lets you keep track of what you're watching, what your friends are watching, and where you all left off. DC On Screen is a Maladjusted production. Visit maladjusted.tv for more from me and Jason, including sketch comedy, an improvised web series, vlogs, parodies, and more.
Are you maladjusted? Discover unbeatable deals and convenience at your neighborhood Family Fare supermarkets. Score exclusive deals, earn rewards, join clubs, and clip digital coupons for extra savings all in one place. Our exclusive offers bring savings straight to your card. Explore a wide range of local products that support your community. With easy pickup and delivery options, saving time and grocery shopping has never been easier. Family Fare is all about making your grocery experience easy and affordable and your one-stop shop for all your grocery needs. Family Fare in your neighborhood.
O'Reilly! It's Superstart Battery Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Get up to a $25 gift card after rebate with the purchase of select Superstart batteries. Our professional parts people will test your old battery for free and recommend the right battery for your vehicle. For power, performance, and reliability, choose Superstart batteries only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.